open city, meaning no one was supposed to destroy it, and most of it was saved. We were protecting a bridge over the Seine River, and the Frenchmen told us that the worst thing the Germans could do would be to destroy the wineries. Some of the French towns we went to were Saint-Mère-Église down to Cherbourg, across the Biscay Peninsula, then back to the west coast to Avranches, France. This is where I got the Nazi flag, an armband. I found the flag on the ground, but it had flown over the belfry of the schoolhouse. The Germans were using the belfry as an observation point. The armband with the Nazi insignia was worn by the French when the Nazis were around to appear sympathetic to them. The 8th American Air Force and the British Air Force would load up in England, fly south and bomb them. Then they would go somewhere in southern France, reload and bomb them again on their way back. We started inland. We had a setback with the 83rd Infantry. A new infantry was occupying the area and used some poor battle strategies. Germans caught them in a weak point and formed a bulge. They shoved the Americans back 20 miles. General McAuliffe was waiting in Bastogne. The Germans wanted him to surrender, and he told them, nuts. Also waiting were Patton's 3rd Army, Bradley's 1st Army, and the British. Our regiment got separated from the 1st and became attached to Patton's 3rd Army for the rest of the war. In my opinion, there couldn't have been a better general. Patton got things moving. The infantry were riding on tanks, taking care of the pockets of Germans as we went along. We traveled about 150 to 200 miles a day. We got into Liège, Belgium, around Christmas time. We got off the front lines on Christmas Eve. We zigzagged back and forth, one country to another. The Germans couldn't keep track of our division. They called us the Terrible Green Cross because our artillery was so accurate. We also had 4.2 chemical mortars with us. Germans couldn't knock them out. Got the Purple Heart when I picked up a piece of shrapnel in my arm. It happened in the Hürtgen Forest during the Battle of the Bulge. It was completely black in there.
All of Willard's mail was censored. He always said his return address was somewhere in England or France. We always tried to follow Ernie Kyle's reports on the radio. Mr. Kyle was war reporter attached to the Willard's group. Mother and Dad were always worried about Willard.
We entered Germany. The Air Force went ahead of us, bombing and cleaning the way for us. We still had to clean up pockets of Germans left behind. It was a little easier fighting the war now that we were with an armored division and not infantry. When we were about 6 miles from the Austrian border, General Patton decided to send a Japanese-American division attached to his army to get the Lippenzahn horses. Patton got into a lot of trouble for doing this. The regular German army wanted to join up with the Americans and for the Russians, who were coming from the west. But FDR, Franklin Roosevelt, and the French and the British generals wouldn't give General Patton and the food and the fuel to finish it off. We stopped at the Elbe River. The Allied powers had already decided how Germany would be divided up after the war. Well, Germany surrendered on April 29, 1945. I stayed until July 1945. We sailed out of Bahia, France. We were on the high seas bound for the U.S. on July 4th aboard the USS Seabass, a Liberty ship. The trip took us 4 or 5 days. We were packed in like sardines. We landed in New York City and went on to Fort Dix, New Jersey. Great news. I'm coming home on furlough.
The U.S. has dropped an atomic bomb on Japan on August 6, 1945. The war is over when the Japanese officially surrender on August 16, 1945.
I returned to Fort Dix to be discharged on August 25, 1945. When I got back home, I went to the Newfane draft board and got my separation papers. A1C discharge card. Finally, I am home for good.